Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. You're not gonna believe what just dropped in the NFL rumor mill, because this one's big, and I mean really big. Imagine waking up scrolling through your usual sports feed and seeing the words, Middle Eastern Investment Fund buys 40% of Washington Commanders. That alone would be enough to set social media on fire, but it gets even crazier. Apparently, this isn't just another rich group buying into an NFL franchise to collect profits on merchandising and TV rights. Nope. According to multiple unconfirmed but highly circulated sources, this fund is promising something wild, a Super Bowl within 2 years. That's right, 2 seasons, 1 Lombardi. This is either the most confident investment strategy we've seen in pro football or the boldest marketing bluff in NFL history. The streets are buzzing. Fan forums, Reddit threads, and Twitter, well X now, are exploding with speculation. Who are these new owners? What's their game plan? And why Washington of all franchises given its rocky history? Post-GER era. From what we're hearing, this fund isn't here to play it safe. They're here to dominate, and in a league driven by parity and salary caps that's not just ambitious, it's borderline insane. But insane might just be what Washington needs. Now, before you start thinking this is just another ownership shuffle like we've seen countless times before, let's talk numbers and vision. From what insiders are whispering, this Arab investment group isn't merely dipping their toes into the NFL waters. They're going full throttle. The reported acquisition of 40% of the Commanders is only phase 1. The next steps, overhauling operations, injecting capital into player recruitment and bringing in elite level staff from both the college scene and international circuits. We're talking sports science experts from European soccer nutritionists, from Olympic programs, and performance coaches who've helped shape global champions. But here's the kicker. They allegedly told their board they're guaranteeing a Super Bowl title within 2 years. That's not speculation. That's what's being quoted. If true, this isn't just a statement, it's a war cry. NFL execs are reportedly watching this development with raised eyebrows, and some owners are already nervous. Could this spark a wave of foreign capital crashing into the league? And what does this mean for the Commanders, faithful who've endured years of mediocrity, controversy, and constant rebuilds? For fans who've sat through the Snyder years, this sounds like salvation. Or is it a mirage in the desert? Either way, it's all anyone can talk about right now. And let's not forget the timing of all this. The Commanders have been in a transitional state ever since the team changed ownership and branding, moving away from the scandal-ridden past and trying to reestablish themselves as a respected football institution. Enter this rumored Arab fund, believed to be backed by royalty-level wealth from the Gulf states. And suddenly everything changes. We're hearing whispers that they've already been involved behind the scenes helping facilitate the recent signings, and possibly even funding last year's draft strategy. If this proves true, it means their influence isn't new, it's just now going public. And that Super Bowl claim, not a promise to the media. Supposedly, that line was delivered during a private investor call that someone leaked. Wild, right? The idea that a franchise as troubled as Washington's could turn into a contender in 2 years flat sounds like a Disney script. But with the right resources, and this group reportedly has limitless ones, anything's possible. Think PSG in France or Manchester City in England, or that kind of money moves mountains. And now it might just be shaking up the NFC East. Still, with big money comes big pressure. And fans aren't stupid. They've heard promises before. They've seen new owners roll in with flashy marketing campaigns, empty slogans, and trust the process nonsense. But this time, there's a different tone, a certain aggression in the messaging. These investors didn't say, we hope. They didn't even say, we aim. They said, we will win a title in 2 years. That word, will, is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. League insiders are torn. Some are calling it delusional arrogance. Others are calling it calculated disruption. And coaches around the league are starting to wonder what this means for the Commanders' strategy. Do they go Allen on trades? Are they about to poach a superstar QB with a monster offer? Could we see something unprecedented, like a global recruitment campaign bringing international athletic talent to American football? Because yes, that's Another part of the rumor, these guys want to make the Commanders a global brand. International games, cross-border sponsorships, soccer-style club culture. It's ambitious, it's unorthodox, and it's shaking the traditional NFL model to its core. Whatever happens next, it's clear Washington just became the most intriguing franchise in football. Now let's talk logistics, because while ambition sounds sexy, execution is what actually builds dynasties. How does a 40% stake translate to control? Well, it doesn't necessarily unless the other partners are aligned or overwhelmed. Reports suggest that while the Arab Fund is a minority owner on paper, the real influence comes from the capital injection. We're talking hundreds of millions, possibly over $1 billion, set aside for stadium upgrades, player incentives, tech-driven analytics, and international expansion. Word is they're planning to revamp the FedEx Field experience completely, new suites, entertainment complexes, you name it. And this is just phase 1. Phase 2, possibly building a brand new stadium somewhere in the DC metro area, rumored to be a smart stadium, the likes of which the NFL's never seen. Think AI-controlled climate, augmented reality screens, and real-time fan interaction. If even half of this comes true, Commanders fans could go from watching outdated game day presentations to living in the future. One insider even claimed they want to make the Commanders the Apple of the NFL. That's a bold comparison. But if they can deliver, then hey, maybe 2 years isn't that crazy after all. But here's the part that's really setting the sports world on fire, the roster rumors. Word is the fund isn't just looking at free agency and draft picks. They're allegedly ready to make unheard of offers for top-tier players currently locked into long-term contracts. Think multi-team trades. Think cash-laden incentive packages that make other owners uncomfortable. Some names being floated around Patrick Mahomes. Yes, that Mahomes though, that seems almost impossible. But others like T. Higgins, Chris Jones, even a massive bid to pull Justin Jefferson away from the Vikings are being talked about in backrooms. Is any of this concrete? Of course not. But the fact that these names are even entering the conversation tells you just how disruptive this group wants to be. They don't want to build slowly. They want shock and awe. And in today's NFL, where parity rules and the cap is king, that kind of aggressiveness either builds empires or burns them to the ground. And let's be honest, Commanders fans have lived through enough ashes. Maybe this time they rise. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. There's also talk about hiring. And no, not just coordinators and coaches. We're talking about an executive overhaul. The rumor mill says the new investors are courting high-level talent from other leagues. Think Premier, league execs, Formula One team strategists, and even former Olympic team managers. Why? Because they're thinking differently. They believe that NFL franchises operate too much like closed systems, and they want to inject innovation from outside the American football bubble. One wild name even floated, Arsene Wenger. Yes, the legendary Arsenal manager. Not as a coach, obviously, but as a director of global strategy. It sounds like fan fiction, but in today's hyper-global sports environment, stranger things have happened. Bringing in minds from different disciplines could be the shakeup the NFL didn't know it needed. It also sends a message the Commanders aren't just playing catch-up. They're trying to leapfrog the system. It's like Moneyball with oil money. The league may resist. Old school owners may push back, but the fans, they're curious. And after years of predictable mediocrity, curiosity feels like hope. And don't think for a second this move isn't geopolitical too. Middle Eastern investment in Western sports isn't new. We've seen it in English soccer, Formula One, even golf. But the NFL, that's been a fortress. Until now, the Commanders might be the first domino. If this goes well, and by well, I mean championship level, expect other investment funds from the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar to start sniffing around other franchises. Maybe the Titans, maybe the Jaguars, hell, maybe even the struggling Bears. The league is likely watching this very carefully, because once foreign money proves it can play and win in the NFL, it's game on. And while some might see that as a threat to tradition, others see it as evolution. The sport is globalizing whether Roger Goodell likes it or not, and the Commanders of all teams may have just become the test subject for football's next revolution. One investor reportedly said, "We're not just buying a team, We're buying a movement. That's powerful. And if that movement leads to a Super Bowl, the NFL may never be the same again. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. 2 years is not a long time in the NFL. Injuries happen. Draft picks bust. Coaches clash. And while money can buy a lot of things, chemistry isn't one of them. The Commanders will still have to face a stacked NFC East where the Eagles are loaded, the Cowboys are always dangerous, and the Giants are unpredictable. Add to that the national spotlight and mounting pressure, and you've got a pressure cooker situation. Fans will demand results immediately. The media will dissect every play. Every misstep will be blown out of proportion. And yet that might be exactly what these investors want. Pressure creates urgency. Urgency fuels greatness. They're not here for slow, methodical improvement. They're here to detonate the status quo. Whether or not they succeed, one thing is clear. The Commanders are no longer an afterthought. They're front page material now. And that alone is a win, at least for the moment. Whether it becomes a legacy, only time will tell. In conclusion, this rumored 40% acquisition of the Commanders by an Arab investment group is more than just a headline. It's a seismic shift in the NFL landscape. It represents not just new money, but a new mentality, bold, unapologetic, and global in scope. The promise of a Super Bowl within 2 years might sound outrageous to some, but for others, it's exactly the kind of crazy confidence the Commanders have been missing. This isn't just about winning games. It's about reshaping a brand, reigniting a fan base, and perhaps even changing how the NFL operates. Will they deliver? Will the bold claims come true? No one knows. But what we do know is the story has already begun. And whether you're a believer or a skeptic, you'll be watching. Because love it or hate it, the Commanders have our attention now. And in sports, that's the first step to relevance. So buckle up, NFL fans. The winds of change are blowing through Washington. And they smell like oil, ambition, and maybe, just maybe, victory. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.